You too, Greta. Thank you.
And President Obama's in trouble with the nuns tonight. Yes, the nuns, a small group of Denver nuns taking on Washington and Obamacare. And the nuns, well, they just won a round. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor granting the Catholic group a reprieve from the contraception mandate, at least a temporary one. Daniel Blomberg is the lawyer for the Denver group, the Little Sisters of the Poor. He joins us. Nice to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Boy, I tell you, that's a tough name of a group to be up against. I might have some sympathy for the president, the Little Sisters of the Poor.
Well, the Little Sisters of the Poor didn't want to be up against the president. They tried for a long time to ask the president to allow them to run their ministry in the way they always have. For 175 years, they've taken care of poor elderly people, people who are dying, and they've done it according to their faith. They're nuns. They're Catholics. They believe what the Catholic Church teaches. And so they just asked, please, Mr. President, don't force us to violate our faith.
And we're talking in specific, it has to do with contraception, is that right? With
contraception and abortion-inducing drugs, that's right. The government has said that the nuns must provide these and participate in the provision of these, or they'll be fined millions of dollars per year.
All right, so you filed for emergency relief from Justice Sotomayor, and you got it until when?
Tomorrow.
And tomorrow at 10 a.m.?
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. the government has to respond and explain to Justice Sotomayor why they should be allowed to punish the nuns for living their faith.
You know, it's sort of, I mean, as a former practicing lawyer myself, I mean, to have the Supreme Court justice sort of step in, I mean, it's sort of intriguing. I mean, it shows sort of the gravity of the issue. It doesn't necessarily say how she's going to rule in the end, but certainly shows the importance of the issue.
Certainly, and you've had about 20 different cases that have come up now. In fact, 20 exactly that have come up in just the last few weeks deciding this specific legal issue. And in 90% of those cases, the courts have said over and over again, resoundingly, that the religious ministry should be protected, and that's what Justice Sotomayor said here, at least for a little while.
You know, it's sort of interesting that the federal government or the state government can order religious groups around. For instance, you can order that they have fire escapes in their convent. I mean, something like that, so that they have to have fire escapes for safety. So it's not like they're immune from all regulation. You agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, of course not.
Okay, so you agree with that. So what's the difference between a fire escape on the building and contraception? Is it because it goes not necessarily to safety, but to core religious constitutional beliefs? Is that the distinction?
That is the distinction. This goes right to the heart of who the Little Sisters are. The Little Sisters are an institution that exists to protect life at its very end, to treat it with respect and love. They take a vow, literally take a vow, to treat each person who comes in as Jesus Christ. They treat them like that. And they don't want to have to be part of something that could harm innocent human life at its very beginning. And that's what's happening here.
All right, tomorrow the government responds at 10 a.m. The court will then have to make a decision, the Supreme Court. Is it just Justice Sotomayor, or is it with the others, whether to continue the temporary restraining order until they can hear full argument?
The justice has that decision. She can either make the decision herself, or that she can refer it to the full court, as was recently done in a similar religious liberty emergency appeal that came up. And what they have to decide is the basic considerations that often come up in these kinds of cases.
And last time, was the temporary restraining order extended or not on a similar situation?
It was granted. It was extended to allow the religious claimant to be protected from being forced to violate his faith. And so in this situation, the court's looking at it and says, do we have something here where we have a real split? The circuits are confused below, and it's an important law. And that's exactly what we have here. We have two circuits on either side of this issue that say the exact opposite thing on the exact same legal issue. And they're saying it about something that's incredibly important, fundamental religious liberty rights.
Justice Sotomayor, Catholic?
I don't know, honestly.
I mean, it's sort of interesting aspect of it. I mean, it's only a temporary ruling. I don't mean to suggest anything, but only sort of the intrigue as we look at the composition of the court and such an important decision to so many Americans.
Incredibly important to these sisters, because they'll be facing fines, millions of dollars in years in fines. I mean,
I don't think they can afford that one, can they?
This is money that they've gotten to take care of poor elderly people, not to pay to the IRS.
Daniel, thank you, and we'll be watching 10 a.m. tomorrow is the hour when you'll hear from the federal government. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.